the biggest challenge is simply being able to let go. Command and control leaders may get compliance, but typically not much more. While compliance is necessary, it's woefully insufficient. Trust and inspire, on the other hand, is about garnering heartfelt commitment that's freely and enthusiastically given. Commitment is worlds apart from compliance.
Welcome to Philosopher Insights, the podcast that delivers wisdom in minutes a day that you can put into practice daily and strive to master over a lifetime.
The podcast committed to sharing ideas that encourage you to bridge the gap between who you are today and the person you aspire to be in the future.
Hi, my name is Herb Lamba, and welcome to my podcast, where I will share practical insights from the world's best authors.
Knowledge isn't power. Applied knowledge is. The quest to become the best version of you starts right now.
Welcome to Philosopher Insights. Today we're looking at trust and inspire, how truly great leaders unleash greatness in others. The author of the book is Stephen M.R. Covey. This book is published in 2022. I wanted to share a number of my favorite insights from this great book, starting with the epic imperative of our time, old versus new, trust culture, power in people, trusting, the number one quality of leadership, stewardship agreements, barriers to trust and inspire, lead the way, and finish off with a closing thought. So let's begin with the introduction. Quote, "When it comes to the way we lead, in the workplace, in the classroom, at home, we've been repeating the same style of leadership for a long time. Many leaders still view their role as much more like a machinist than a gardener. They approach it first with the priority that there is a job to be done, and their role is to leverage the resources and people at their disposal to accomplish the task at hand. Let's call that style of leadership command and control. Has this approach worked? When you think about it, does it work for you? Let me ask you a more pertinent question. Does this leadership approach work for you? Probably not. In fact, most of us have wanted a different way to lead and be led. But so far, we've only been able to improve incrementally. I suggest a simple term for the change we need: trust and inspire. Trust and inspire is the new way to lead. Its goal is to unleash people's talent and potential, to truly empower and inspire them, rather than trying to contain and control them. It's about trusting people to do the right thing and inspiring them to make meaningful contributions. It's about then connecting people to purpose, so they feel inspired not only by an organization's leaders, but also a sense of purpose, meaning, and contribution in their work. Command and control is about getting things done, but it misses the potential power of the people who get those things done. It's about barking out the orders so everyone does exactly what they're supposed to do, not because they want to, but because they have to. In short, it's about controlling people instead of unleashing their potential. The truth is, we all want to be trusted. To be trusted is the most inspiring form of human motivation. People who trust those they lead bring out the very best in them, and in all of us." End quote. That is from the introduction of Trust and Inspire, a book in which Stephen M.R. Covey emphasizes the importance of moving to a new style of leadership. A leader's role is like that of a gardener, where they provide the soil to allow the seeds of greatness to grow within a person. I thoroughly enjoyed this book, and I believe anyone that wants to learn how to connect with others should read this book. Parents, coaches, managers, leaders, anyone that directly influences others. Insight number 1, the epic imperative of our time. Quote, "All organizations today have two epic imperatives to achieve. First is the ability to create a high-trust culture that can attract, retain, engage, and inspire the best people, and thus win the ongoing war for talent. Second is the ability to collaborate and innovate successfully enough to stay highly relevant in a changing, disruptive world." As Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella succinctly put it, "Our industry respects innovation, not tradition." People can work remotely and live nomadically. This new way of working and living requires a new way of leading. To succeed in the war for talent, we must stay current, remain relevant, and become intentionally flexible, not just with technology, but especially with the shifting needs and expectations of people." End quote. This war for talent is real, and today, companies are fighting to keep their top talent. The game has changed, people's expectations have changed, And people's options have changed in this new world of work. If the variables have changed, so must the management style. The carrot and stick or command and control strategy is no longer effective. A more people-centered approach to leadership is required. Insight number 2, old model versus new model. Quote, command and control leaders operate under a paradigm of position and power. Trust and inspire leaders operate under a paradigm of people and potential. For many command and control leaders, the biggest challenge is simply being able to let go. Command and control leaders may get compliance, but typically not much more. While compliance is necessary, it's woefully insufficient. Trust and inspire, on the other hand, is about garnering heartfelt commitment that's freely and enthusiastically given. Commitment is worlds apart from compliance, and it leads to a much higher level of engagement, innovation, and inspiration while creating far greater outcomes. End quote. Command and control is a transactional exchange which aims to get a task completed, whereas trust and inspire is transformational. It looks to establish better relationships, enabling and empowering people to perform at their best. Command and control looks for compliance, incrementalism, control and managing people. Trust and inspire looks for commitment, innovation, and inspiration, where a leader manages things but leads people. Quote, schedules need to be managed to be coordinated and aligned to help get things done. Finances need to be managed so revenue, taxes, expenses, payroll, and investments are tracked and in line. Those are all resources, tools, objects, things. We need leaders who are great at managing things. Here's the problem. Those with a command and control mindset typically manage people the same way they manage things. But when you manage people like you manage things, you deny the very quality people possess that bring real, unique value and enable them to solve problems and make decisions in creative, productive ways outside of how you might. End quote. Covey argues that the command and control style of management is no longer effective. People are not interested in being micromanaged with little to no room for creativity and autonomy in their work. As a leader, if you sense that people are unhappy, quiet, bored, or lacking motivation, maybe it's time to check in on your leadership style. Insight number 3, high trust culture. Quote, the most impactful way to attract, retain, engage, and inspire the best people is through culture. This has always been true, but it's even more so in a world of infinite choice, where people can live and work anywhere. A trust and inspire culture is the ultimate magnet for attracting top talent, because people are drawn to environments and cultures where they're trusted and free, where they are inspired by a sense of purpose, meaning, and contribution. High performers want to be where they'll be trusted and empowered. A recent study from ADP Research Institute showed that people are 14 times more likely to be fully engaged when they can trust their immediate leader. End quote. There is no better way to engage and inspire people than to build a foundation of trust within the team and ultimately the organization. If you don't have trust, you don't have much of anything beyond compliance. Insight number 4, power in people. Quote, what sets trust and inspire leaders apart is the way they view people as fountains of greatness, brimming with potential. Because of that, they actively look for greatness in people. They see the world as a garden and themselves as gardeners. They know that the true power is in the seed. Gardeners need to make the conditions right for the seed to be able to grow, but the seed grows because it has the capability of growing. Command and control leaders don't see the power in people. Rather, they see power in the position. Whether a parent, a coach, a teacher, or a boss, people with this mindset believe that they have the answers and can make or break any situation. They cannot cede control because they only trust themselves. End quote. One believes in the greatness inside their people and the other doesn't. One creates an environment for growth while the other stifles it. One inspires people to generate massive results, while the other settles for mediocre gains. One evaluates people based on their potential. The other evaluates based on current behaviors. Insight number 5, trusting. Quote, trusting, how we lead, flows out of the fundamental beliefs of greatness being inside people, and that our job as a leader is to unleash people's potential, not control them. We unleash the greatness inside people through trusting them. Extending trust to others is a better way to live. By trusting others, leaders build the capability and confidence of those who are trusted. They unleash human potential and multiply performance. The very first job of a leader is to inspire trust. And the second job of a leader is to extend trust. Research shows that people who are trusting are happier, healthier, and live longer. Indeed, the most stressful part of the workday for 75% of people is their boss. End quote. Many leaders struggle to inspire and extend trust, but as Covey illustrates brilliantly in this book, it's vital to the success and well-being of those in your organization. There is definitely a risk that comes with trusting people, but the risk of not trusting people has a much greater negative impact on the mental well-being of your people. Insight number 6, the number one quality of leadership. Quote, remember that regardless of your role or whether people report to you, you are a leader. And your job as a leader is not just to keep people around, but to lead them in a way so they consciously and enthusiastically choose to stay, so they thrive and contribute meaningful. End quote. According to research referenced by Covey that looked at 16 different competencies of good leadership, the most desired quality of a good leader was the ability to inspire high performance. Most leaders rank low in their ability to inspire, and this gap between what people want and what leaders today are giving leads to enormous well-being and productivity challenges. Insight number 7, stewardship agreements. Quote, the basic idea is that a stewardship agreement shifts the paradigm of interaction from vertical positioning to horizontal partnering, from hovering over and checking up on people to self-supervision and accountability, from micromanagement to self-governance, from top-down posturing to becoming partners in success, from leaders judging others to people judging themselves. In short, it shifts the paradigm from manager to coach. As my father said, a stewardship agreement is not a formal job description, neither is it a legal contract. It's an open-ended psychological/social contract that explicitly defines expectations. Using the language stewardship agreement is not the point. Rather, the point is that you have a common understanding and commitment toward your highest mutual priorities. End quote. I love everything about a stewardship agreement. The effective use of stewardship agreements relies on trust and inspire leaders adopting the proper mindset that are based on the fundamental beliefs of a trust and inspire leader. Here's a quick overview of the fundamental beliefs required for a trust and inspire leader. First, people have greatness inside them, so my job as a leader is to unleash their potential, not control them. Number 2, people are whole people, so my job as a leader is to inspire, not merely motivate. Number 3, there's enough for everyone, so my job as a leader is to elevate caring above competing. Number 4, leadership is a stewardship, so my job as a leader is to put service above self-interest. And finally, number 5, enduring influence is created from the inside out, so my job as a leader is to go first. End quote. There are 5 key elements required to create an effective stewardship agreement. First, desired results. Commit people to get results, but allow them to decide how to get those results. Second, the guidelines. Set the boundaries, but allow for autonomy over task management. The third is resources. What resources are available to produce the desired outcomes? Fourth, accountability. Agree together as to how results will be measured. And finishing off with consequences. People must know the consequences of not getting something done before they agree to be accountable to them. As a leader, when you lay out the 5 key elements to a successful stewardship agreement, it benefits both you and your team. You may be reading this and feel apprehensive about making the changes necessary to transition from command and control to trust and inspire. Based on Covey's research, there are 5 common barriers to making the change, and let's examine these next. Insight number 8, barriers to trust and inspire. Quote, as I mentioned at the outset of this book, the overarching barrier in becoming a trust and inspire leader is that we think we already are one. As a result, the problem is always out there. In other words, the problem is everyone else. The 5 common barriers are the mindsets, thoughts, and attitudes that many of us have experienced at some point on our leadership journey. When these barriers are the forefront of our minds, we begin to question the greatness in people or to question our ability to unleash the greatness. End quote. Barrier number 1. This won't work here. Barrier 2. Fear or, but what if I lose control? But what if it doesn't work? But what if I've been burned before? But what if I don't get the credit? But what if I'm not as confident as you think I am? Barrier number 3. I don't know how to let go. Barrier 4. I'm the smartest one in the room. And barrier 5. This is who I am. These barriers can be used to drive change, or they can be used as excuses to keep your organization stagnant and people feeling uninspired. Change requires risk, and if you believe in the Trust and Inspire leadership model, maybe it's time to courageously lead the way in your organization, school, or family. Insight number 9, lead the way. Quote, the solution to believing that this won't work here is to first model, then mentor, creating a ripple effect. You can model a trust and inspire way of leading regardless of how anyone else acts. Rather than thinking the problem is out there, which renders you helpless to change it, you become the solution to the problem. You, within your circle of influence, become an island of excellence in a sea of mediocrity, an island of trust in a sea of micromanagement, an island of inspiration in a sea of indifference. You lead the way. Rather than thinking, this can't work here, instead choose to think, how could this work here? Then get to work. Start now. End quote. Insight number 10, closing thought. Quote, we might not ever attempt to summit Mount Everest, but we can all do great things. The world is a better and more noble place when filled with trust and inspire people and leaders. Amazing feats and equally amazing leadership are made possible through modeling, trusting, and inspiring. Wherever there is greatness, wherever there is achievement, wherever there is success, you can find a trust and inspire leader. People aren't moved to greatness, they are inspired to it. There is always a model, someone who paved the way. There is always someone who trusted and believed in others. And there is always someone who inspired, who was able to light the fire within, not only with themselves, but within others. We can be that leader. We should be that leader. Our colleagues need it. Our organizations need it. Our family and friends need it. Our communities need it. Our society and world need it. End quote. That is my quick look at Stephen Covey's latest book, Trust and Inspire. This is an important book that has been written at the perfect time. It's time to move away from the industrial age style of management. It's time to shift from command and control to trust and inspire. This book shows you the way. It begins with you. You've been listening to Philosopher Insights with your host, Herb Lamba. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To go deeper with me, you can register for free at www.philosopherinsights.com for instant access to a growing library of Philosopher Insights, which are 8 to 10 page PDFs plus 20-minute MP3s that break down my favorite insights from the world's best personal development books. To catch all the latest from me, you can follow me on Facebook at Optimal Herb. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.